Should be running good. So it looks like this is how it's formatted is so strange. And my text in the text chat. Well, without further ado, let me read on to the last sport fashion. That's the last content I have left under this wiki page for fitness culture. Without further ado, let's just scroll to it. Alright. Sport fashion. Along with seat also and references. Under fitness fashion, sports culture, fitness culture, perhaps. Well, as customary, as always, let me always adjust. Let me bring down my face. Hydrate again. Okay. Everything is good. Sport fashion. Sport fashion is a product created by commercialization of fitness culture. As mentioned above, personally, trainers also act as agents to sell different goods and services. An example, in the case of body training system, BTS, BTS instructors are suggested to change their costume according to the programmees in order to show the differences in character. Interesting. The aim is to inspire the trainees to purchase the same costume offered by the programmers or programs. Besides, sportwear and athletic footwear has become the fastest growing segment in the apparel market. The trend in sportwear frames is not only for sport activities, but also as day wear, weekend wear. While classic sport brands continue to expand their market shares in the industry, high fashion brands have also joined the competition. So that is sports fashion. BTS instructors body training system. BTS. Alright, let's go along with just the seat also and references. So for the seat also, that's it. I already explained most of this, just especially the sociology of sport and the body. So we're getting into the science part along with references. There's a bunch of references. The rise of the adult playground, BBC News. We still come if the rain sideways. How Britain fell in love with outdoor fitness, The Guardian. I'm interested with this one. Let me, come on. I gotta put it here. But yeah, this mouse is actually becoming shorter and shorter now. So, I glance it. Yeah, there's a lot of images here. So let me just scheme that. But anyway, let me just go back to the fitness culture and how everything I have learned is related to that. Along with also review. Because I sort of know gist of it, and part of it is actually related to what I learned with gymnastics. Gymnastics being the earliest form of fitness. Also, what the? Let me. Yeah, currently, right now, I am just figuring out how this new layout is supposed to be, especially with standing on stream. Okay, so yeah, that is just the background. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. Anywho, gymnastics earliest form originated from Greece and Rome. On people practice it, and in the 1800s, as it says, with the development of exercises like gymnastics and stuff, it became popular. So fitness in general and gymnastics is pretty much has a very common history. However, call that gymnastics is mainly competitive based, so people really don't do it as recreational, which that's the thing with fitness culture. It's starting to expand to become more recreational, more accessible for other people, along with changing. So yeah, the thing is, not many people do gymnastics in their own free time, and yeah, this actually confirms it. Hmm. Also, it talks about new things I started coming across, and I was actually correct on that one about running. Running being like one of the first modern, or modern in a sense where people still keep on doing it because yeah, around the 1800s, gymnastics is one of the modern exercises people start doing because it was around the modern era, since a lot of things in the 1800s still exist today. Like, let's go with brands. Heinz ketchup, A1 steak sauce, and hell, you probably want to go to Nintendo with it being a card company, which mainly they're an entertainment company, but they still sell cards, which is interesting. So that's pretty much it, along with yeah, gymnastics of ancient world, 19th century, World War II, and the Cold War. So yeah, this is actually related to still gymnastics because of how the Olympics became a thing, and for gymnastics wanting to be very competitive and follow into that realm, start participating in the Olympics, and part of it was competing to other teams in a competition. In the World War II and the Cold War, it shows how a bunch of countries tend to have that to create influence, inspiration, stuff like that. So yeah, mass participation along with technology, specialization, and branding. So now we go on to the mass participation, which that is where we have our modern sense of exercise, recreational exercise, fitness, and all that stuff. So, after World War II, a new form of non-organized, individualistic, health-oriented physical and recreational activities such as jogging began to prevail. The Royal Canadian Air Force exercise plans developed by Dr. Bill Orban in 1961 sold 23 million copies to the public. United States Air Force Colonel Keith Cooper's aerobics, not aerobics, aerobics. So. So, because of that and all that stuff, around the 60s, that's when jogging became a thing, aerobics became a thing. 1980s, you have workouts. Oh yeah, I forgot to read this piece. The Olympics inspired a running boom in the 1970s. Let me quickly go over that because the article I want to go after this is that tracking. I forgot the exact term, but it has to involve, yeah, quantified self. So, let me briefly read this. The running boom of the 1970s. The running boom of the 1970s occurred in high and middle income countries. It was particularly pronounced in the United States and occurred in other countries including the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and in Europe. The boom was primarily a jogging movement in which running was generally limited to personal physical activity and other pursuits alone for recreational and fitness. It was also associated with the growth in public participation in competitive road running during the decades, particularly in the United States, which spread to other countries in the following decade, including in the United Kingdom. It is estimated that 25 million Americans took up some aspect of running in the 1970s and 1980s, including President Jimmy Carter. Many running events, shoe, and apparel manufacturers grew and formed to accommodate the demand. The boom attracted women and individuals in minority groups, minority communities, but studies from the time show that participation in running races were most commonly university-educated men in white-collar occupations. So let me zoom in. Let's see how's it go for me reading like this. Okay, let me skim through this. Background: growth and jogging began in the late 60s. Yes. Okay, growth and participation. The boom was primarily a jogging movement in which running was generally limited to personal physical activity and often pursued alone for recreational and fitness. Okay, let me scroll down. Yeah, media in the United States, Runner's World, Gym Fix, George Sheehan. So writing books along with magazine articles about doing jogging. So yeah, legacy. Okay, let me read this. Legacy paragraph. Legacy. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, a second running boom occurred in Europe and North America, marked by a more notable increase in participation in organized races. The number of finishers of road races of all distances in the United States increased by 300% between 1990 and 2013, followed by a decline in 2014 through 2015. Studies have shown a continuous trend of democratization. So that's the word. Democratization among participants of running events since 1969, with broader socio-demographic representations among participants. More. Let me. Including more female finishers, although some evidence is mixed and participation still varies by country and event. Yeah, I also see is fitness culture along with outdoor fitness. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So along with the technology, it also talks about how people start tracking themselves and doing it more individualistic along with other forms to learn and to participate, like watching videos on a Zumba class and such. Along with mass media, how it promotes that peer influence, so group people, along with feeling personal trainers. Let's skim through there. Okay, yeah, that should be under peer influence. It also talks about people wanting other people to look in a particular way to be attractive. That could be under just mass media, but I also believe it's also peer influence because of what it feels like. Here you go. They want to feel part of a group, which can be referred to community feeling, as the behavior of a group membership is transmitted from member to member within a group. Now, onwards, yeah, they also have this, like dating agencies. So, people actually are restricting certain people because of their physical fitness and stuff. Even though it's not the best ideal because people have so many different body types and their own level of fitness is what they feel most comfortable with. Which in that case, I think it's just understandable just to understand a person's situation and, you know, observe that than just assuming. Then you also have personal trainers who, yeah, they're actually people who are related to a whole business. Besides that, they're also can be an influence, a strong influence on people who aspire or deviant, or no, defy. Okay, so deviant and defy. I refer to those words because it can be a bit harmful of some actions they do. But ultimately, it goes back to the whole influence things and also their work. Something I don't understand because I did not expect the whole sociology uh, and the philosophy of that being a critical thing, because this is what I know. I probably have to read more under these Wikipedia articles, so I believe it does build under that. Yeah, main article, personal trainer. They also have their own Wikipedia article, so yeah. First time I hear this, so yeah, I'm amazed. I'll keep that in mind. Along with sport fashion, yeah, I can see that. Apparel, a lot of people are buying more apparel and specific brands, but also, you know, things that are useful. I got hiker boots because I don't have to worry about water going through them, my feet being a bit messy and stuff. So yeah. Okay. So that was this Wikipedia article, Fitness Culture. Now, let's go under the technology under quantified self. This is what I was very interested in. Okay, let me scroll through this. Quantified self. Context, history. 2. Methodologies. 3. Applications. 4. Debates and criticism. Along with 5, 6. See also references. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Now, let me read this entire article. Quantified self. The quantified self refers both to the cultural phenomenon of self-tracking with technology and to a community of users and makers of self-tracking tools who share an interest in self-knowledge through numbers. Self-tracking is, yeah, that would be considered a Fitbit. That's the brand I know because think about that. I only know Fitbit as the brand. It's like people who say a plastic sealable bag as a Ziploc bag, and people think, oh, that item is just called Ziploc bag. Nope, that's just the brand, Ziploc bag. And yeah, they've been doing good things about it. So this is a self-tracking band. In this case, I still say a Fitbit. Now, what about this? A tracking fitness band. Yeah, whatever. Come on, mouse. Okay. Quantified self practices overlap with the practice of lifelonging and other trends that incorporate technology and data acquisition into daily life, with the goal of improving physical, mental, and or emotional performance. The widespread adoption in recent years of wearable fitness and sleep trackers such as the Fitbit or the Apple Watch, combined with the increased presence of Internet of Things in healthcare and exercise equipment, have made self-tracking accessible to a large segment of the population. Other terms for using self-tracking data to improve daily functioning are auto analytics, body hacking, self-quantifying, self-surveillance, source-valence, recording of personal activity, and personal informatics. Source-surveillance, so that's something that I could uh, or am doing. Hmm. Now, onwards to history. History. According to Riphagen et al., the history of the quadramatic self-tracking using wearable computers began in the 1970s. Quote, the history of self-tracking using wearable sensors in combination with wearable computing and wireless computation. Wireless communication already exists for many years and also appeared in the form of surveillance back into the 1970s, 1312. End quote. Quadrametric self-sensing was proposed for the use of wearable computers to automatically sense and measure exercise and diet intake in 2002. Quote, sensors that measure biological signals, a personal data recorder that rewind. A personal data recorder that records. I want to say records. A data personal recorder that records lifelong video capture together with blood sugar levels, correlate to blood sugar levels with activities such as eating by capturing a food record of intake. The quantified self or self-tracking are contemporary labels. Labels. Oh, come on, mouse. Just move like that. Okay. Contemporary labels, they reflect the broader trend of the progressions for organization and mean making in human history. There has been a use of self-taken measurements and data collection that attempt the same goals for the quantified movement has. Scientificization plays a major role in legitimizing self-knowledge through self-tracking. As early as 2001, media artists such as Ellie Harrison and Albert Frugal extensively pioneered the concept, proposing a new direction of labor-intensive self-tracking without using privacy-infringing automation. QS, Quantified Self. The logo of Quantified Self Labs, a company founded by Gary Wolf and Kevin Kelly, which holds conferences and other events. The term quantified self appears to have been proposed in San Francisco by Wired magazine editors Gary Wolf and Kevin Kelly in 2007 as a collaboration of users and toolmakers who share an interest in self-knowledge through the self-tracking. And quote, in 2010, Wolf spoke about the movement at TED. And in May 2011, the first international conference was held in Mountain View, California. So Mountain View, where's that exactly? So that's what it looks like. Looks beautiful. There are conferences in America and Europe. Gary Wolf Gary Wolf said, almost everything we do generates data. Wolf suggests that companies target advertising or recommend products use data from phones, tablets, computers, other technology, and credit cards. However, using the data they make can give people new ways to deal with medical problems, help sleep patterns, and improve diet. Alrighty. Philosophers like... Okay, let me zoom in here. Okay, this should be good. Okay. Philosophers like Michael Foucault are recognized as being a part of the foundations and ideas of the quantified movement. Foucault and other philosophers focus on the idea of care of the self, in which they emphasize the importance of self-knowledge for personal development. Foucault explains that it involves looking inside oneself and emphasizes self-reflection, which is also associated with the quantified self movement, where self-tracking participants can attend quote show and tell style conventions to share their experiences with the technology. Over 100 groups in 34 countries worldwide exist, with the largest group in San Francisco, New York, London, and Boston having over 1,500 members each. Well, okay. Methodologies. Like an empirical study, the primary method is the collaboration and analysis of data. In many cases, data are collected automatically using wearable sensors, not limited to, but often worn on the wrist. In other cases, data may be logged mutually. The data are typically analyzed using traditional techniques such as linear regression to establish correlations among the variables under investigation. As in every attempt to understand potentially high-dimensional data, visualization techniques can suggest hypotheses that may be tested more rigorously using formal methods. One simple example of visualization method is the view to the change in some variables, same weight in pounds over time. Even though the idea is not new, the technology is. Many people would track what they would eat and how physical activity they got within a week. Technology made it easier to simply gather or analyze personal data. Since these technologies have become smaller and cheaper to put in smartphones or tablets, it is easier to take the quantitative methods used in science and business and apply them to a personal sphere. Narratives constitute a symbolic relationship with bodies with bodies of larger data. Therefore, quantified self participants are encouraged to share their experiences of self-tracking at various conferences and meetings. Alright, do I have enough time? This is a long one. The data fetishes critique. Okay. And there's also the quantified baby. That's all. Yeah, that's under debates, criticism, and applications. So, okay, I'm just gonna skim through this to see if this is actually something I want to discuss right now. Okay, yeah, I was just referring to. It was a critique about understanding literacy, the use of data, and this is related more to the technology piece. That's what I realized with this wiki. Under the quantified self, along with understanding the I'd say the morals of collection of data, which I think that's under the idea of privacy, which it's a bit of a headache concept. So I'm just going to bring it back to and under applications it gets further into that. If you haven't spotted that, I was reading the methodologies and history about it. Methodologies just be how you seek it, which is still not different with fitness, but overall, yeah. Okay, I actually gone through this. Oh yeah, let me actually show you the sources and links, topics that's related to self-experimentation, e-health, along with transhumanism and human enhancement. Yeah, that's a little bit much than just simply looking at your physical well-being, uh, on physically, physiologically wise. So yeah. Besides that, it's just the whole grand thing about fitness. It's an ever evolving thing that is practically new, same as technology. Besides that, I'll talk more things related to this wiki article. Besides that, again, see